Sex. Is it just for adults? Experts have weighed in with a resounding yes. Plus, could global warming have a negative impact on wineries? A new study says ones in areas that will soon be forever engulfed in flames could be at risk. From The Onion and Onion Public Radio, this is The Topical. I'm Leslie Price, and I hope you like the news because I'm about to shove it down your throat for the next 8 minutes. Stay with us. A new report from the National Institute of Health confirmed today that the leading cause of death in the United States is still venturing beyond the pines. Despite dire warnings from town elders and rickety old fences warning people to stay away, nearly 2.3 million Americans die every year after wandering into the ancient pine forest. That's more than the number of deaths caused by heart disease, cancer, and diabetes combined. OPR senior health correspondent Jenna Resnick has more on these alarming findings.
Very little is understood about the evil that lurks within the ethereal black pines. Scientists have known for decades that it beckons people of all types, from pure-hearted children to individuals taking shortcuts despite warnings from grizzled woodsmen to stay the path, to even lonely widowers who follow the voice of their beloved into the darkness, never to be seen or heard from again. National Institute of Health Director Francis Collins is calling it the country's greatest health risk.
Hundreds of thousands of Americans awaken in the dead of night and wander out their front door in their nightgown toward the tree line, simply underestimating their risk of suffering an indescribable death within the malevolent woods. People assume they can withstand the hypnotizing call tempting them deeper and deeper into the pines, but in reality, they can't.
Collins says that once those who venture beyond the pines become enveloped within the canopy of the forest, where no light reaches and screams cannot escape, they are 17 times more likely to die at the hands of dark magical forces.
If you weren't willing to heed the warning of the cloaked figures urging you to turn back from whence you came in the first place, then there's no way you're surviving the alluring call of those trees rustling in the alluring night.
Local crone Gristella Wormcackle, who has seen dozens of townsfolk succumb to the whispering call of the pines, knows the real-life impact of these stats all too well.
Just last week, them O'Donnell boys go in there after a deer they was hunting, and I seen the trees close up behind them like a beast snapping its jaws shut. The little one came out with his hair all white and his eyes all wide. He don't talk no more, just stare off.
According to the NIH, these types of incidents and fatalities continue to occur regularly, in part because there's been an uptick in the number of people hearing an otherworldly voice beckoning them into the woods with the whispers of, "This way, follow me."
A lot of people just never think this could happen to them. And then, boom, one day, your daughter chases her paper kite into the pines, and all that is left of her is the haunting sound of her voice, softly reciting nursery rhymes whenever the wind blows through the trees.
I'm joined now in the studio by Jenna Resnick. Now, Jenna, is the NIH doing anything to make people more aware that they shouldn't be venturing beyond the pines?
They are, in fact, rolling out a few efforts, including stationing old cloaked figures at forks in the road to warn travelers of the malevolence that dwells in the heart of the woods, and launching a social media campaign to dispel the notion that treading into the Forbidden Grove is safe under a harvest moon.
Oh, wow. Even when the harvest moon's light is as bright as day and you leave a lock of hair from the young child at the edge of the forest?
That can help you ward off the deathly menace, but the NIH is reminding people that it's simply not enough to guarantee you won't be drawn into the belly of the forest, never to be seen or heard from again.
Okay, wow, good to know. I definitely had my facts crossed there. That's OPR's Jenna Resnick reporting. Thank you, Jenna.
Thank you.
A concerning report out of Harvard University today that shows a majority of children go missing when a parent turns their attention toward themselves for just one goddamn second. The report found that on average, 9 out of 10 children go missing when their mother or father focused on something that wasn't about their kids, like eating, showering, reading an email, or simply just taking a brief moment to sit down on a chair for the first time all day. I'm joined by OPR reporter Loretta Cook. Loretta, thanks for being here.
Hi, Leslie.
So this report seems to make the argument that taking the teeniest, tiniest fraction of a second to be aware of your own existence can possibly be the worst decision a parent will ever make.
That's right. There were many data sets and examples in the report that back that assumption up, like the case of a first-time mother in Georgia. The report outlined how she was pushing her son on a playground swing when she started to daydream about having a glass of wine and dinner with other adults for the first time in 2 years. But when the swing came back to her, it was empty. She never saw her little boy again.
Wow. Is there a solution here?
One prevailing thought is that kids could be kept on leashes when a parent dares not to have the children be the center of their focus for more than 2 seconds. But that's not necessarily safe either, according to the report's head researcher, Madeline Croyer, who I talked to earlier today over the phone.
Unfortunately, in the time it takes an adult to steal a glimpse of their tired, haggard reflection in a mirror, or briefly wonder when exactly it was they gave up on their dreams, a child will have already chewed through the leash and been found wandering around a cornfield 15 miles away.
Wow, striking stuff. So what can parents do to prevent this from happening?
Croyer said that their studies found that children are most safe when being held no more than 6 inches from a parent's face at all times, or when permanently strapped into a baby Bjorn, even when the parent is showering or driving.
Sure.
Now, of course, Croyer did say that the number one way to ensure your child never goes missing is still to forego sleeping forever and never let your child out of your sight until he or she is 18.
And if a parent can't help but want to take the smallest moment to themselves?
The report recommended taking a deep breath and calmly reminding yourself that having a child was your choice and what you want or need is no longer important.
Good tips. But, hearing this report got me wondering if it's a little off, because when I'm out with my kids, I am never focused on them or their safety. I'm pretty much exclusively on Leslie time, daydreaming about the next work trip that will mercifully pull me away from my family or cataloging my favorite sandwiches in my head. But despite all that, my kids never get abducted. This report seems to suggest that they should have been a long time ago.
Well, Croyer did touch on this a little bit. She said that there are some outliers, and it basically comes down to the fact that sometimes a child just isn't all that desirable to abductors.
Well, that definitely checks out in my situation. That's OPR's Loretta Cook. Thanks, Loretta.
You got it.
Volunteers from Eden Animal Shelter have been blanketing the city of Danbury, Connecticut with flyers promoting their annual Adopt-a-thon for weeks. But now some residents are saying the free adoption day they're holding isn't even that good of a deal. OPR consumer reporter Charles Dearborn joins us in the studio now for a closer look. Charles, welcome.
Thanks, Leslie.
So the shelter says that adoption is free?
Well, that's the claim. The organization says they're waiving the adoption fees as part of their mission to, quote, clear the shelters and find a loving home for all. What they're not telling you is that once you adopt the animal, you have to spend money caring for it as well.
Well, that is misleading.
It is. Food, toys, grooming, vet bills. It's a classic bait and switch. These guys are clearly nothing but scam artists, ripping off innocent consumers, like this woman, 37-year-old Cassandra Fisher.
I gotta spend $150 for a cage, $40 for a bag of kibble, and spend time with it? Some deal.
Free certainly sounds like false advertising to me. Has the organization offered any kind of explanation for this blatant con job?
Well, I made a visit to the shelter to uncover what else their ad speak is hiding, but shelter director Katie Sheehan was intent on skirting my questions. Ms. Sheehan, what would you say on average is one of your pet's financial worth?
Well, we at Eden Animal Shelter like to say that a pet's love is invaluable. You can't put a price on a forever friend.
Oh, that's terrible. She wouldn't even answer you.
Because she knows the promotion doesn't make any sense. If any of these animals truly had value, wouldn't they want to keep them at the shelter?
Wow, I didn't even think of that.
The truth is, Leslie, this shelter gets the pets they're selling for free to begin with. And most of these dogs are so fucked up you're going to drop hundreds of dollars on training classes alone. Not to mention the settlement you'll have to pay out once it bites a neighbor.
Charles, please tell me people aren't actually falling for Adopt-a-thon.
Well, I had the chance to speak with a few families who attended the event, and they were just as disappointed as you and me. Take a listen.
When we heard there were free adoptions, we wanted to load up. Thought we might as well get 8 or 9. What the hell? What a mess that turned out to be. We brought the van and everything.
They didn't tell me it would shit. I already dropped mine off at Goodwill.
What a shame.
Bottom line, if you really want a good deal on an animal, check Craigslist. Or call me. I have a cousin. He can hook you up. Not just cats and dogs either. Weird shit, like with hooves and stuff.
Now that's what my family is after. Good man. That's OPR's Charles Dearborn. Thank you, Charles.
Thank you.
Hey, don't worry. There's plenty more news where that came from. And by plenty, I mean 3. Here's what else you need to know today. Positive developments today for human rights in Iran as the Iranian regime has made the groundbreaking announcement that it will be loosening modesty restrictions in the country by now allowing women to wear a pork pie hat in place of a veil. A great step in the right direction by Iran. Those things are stylish. And a major discovery today as a Greek archaeological team believes they have unearthed evidence of up to 3 previously undiscovered Mamma Mias. Researchers in Athens are hopeful that the discovery could lead to even more pop ballad musicals that provide insights into the lives of Donna and Sophie. And for those of you back here in the States, there's no doubt you've seen this viral video making the rounds.
Ad spend across all channels was only $1,500.
I'm hungry.
Ryan.
Daddy,
Kiddo.
I'm hungry.
Sorry, guys. Ryan, I'm on a call.
Yes, that's right. This unsuspecting dad was in the middle of conducting a video conference for his company from his home office when, all of a sudden, his adorable 27-year-old son burst into the background. This video has already racked up over 87 million views and is no doubt a relatable feeling to all parents of millennials. Take a listen.
Daddy's in a meeting.
I said I'm
No,
hungry.
I'm on a call.
I want
This
the
has to wait.
dinosaur chicken
Ryan.
nuggets. Feed me,
I'm sorry,
Daddy.
everybody. It's my son.
Feed
Ryan,
me.
stop. No.
Just adorable. They can be so dependent at that age. Well, that's it for the Topical today. I'm Leslie Price. But before we go, there's something I think I need to address. It's come to my attention that if you play yesterday's episode backwards, it repeatedly says that Leslie Price is a virgin. Now, that is categorically false, and this is nothing more than a coincidence. And if it's not a coincidence and someone's ass is getting fired, you can bet on it. We'll see you tomorrow. The news doesn't stop just because this YouTube video has. For even more on all the worst things happening in the world right now, listen and subscribe to The Topical on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts, you insatiable news freaks.